Time is a weird shaped filter where it's not flat and things move through it. It's sort of long and it grinds out everything. So if you're trying to figure something out, you're trying to figure out a relationship, whether you should stay in it or not, think of it in a longer timeline. Put it on a 10-year timeline. What if you were going to be where you are in 10 years, how would you feel about that? Now, obviously, holding things in context of a deeper temporal perspective requires a lot of patience. Anything, any question, any misunderstanding, anything we're trying to learn, you subject it to enough time and you will get the truth. For the most part, people are rational. They're going to behave with a reason behind whatever they're doing. Even a little kid, why'd you steal? I was hungry. Why'd you speed? Oh, I was running late and didn't want to be late to the thing, right? They're going to give you a reason for what they're doing. I think the place where most rationalizations, the place where most forms of reasoning fall apart is if you were to break it into like some sort of long equation, the variable that represents time was undervalued. They should have had a bigger number there. See, especially when you're young, as you move through life, there's this tug of war between should I be selfish and should I be selfless, or should I be either one? What you'll find is that in the long run, one of the most self-serving things you can do is actually to be pretty selfless, is actually to consider others, is actually to take care of other people. It's like if you're dealing in business, let's say a deal, a sale, a project kind of goes sideways, and you are looking at the story and you're looking at the situation, you're thinking, okay, I can try to save a little bit of money on this deal, protect myself, not really take care of the client. But in the long run, what is that going to do, right? What sort of reputation is that going to tell about you? Some of the most successful companies, at least until they get to like the mega psycho run the world level, some of the most successful companies are actually very generous and have very good customer centric customer service policies. They'll take a hit here and there in a short term in order to have a long-term relationship with their customer base, long-term relationship with their business partners. If you see this all the time in the gym, see this all the time training, doing martial arts, guys come in and they just crush their body over the course of 6 months or maybe a year. They don't want to tap. They don't know how to take care of themselves. They have an extremely short-term view of the martial art or whatever they're training or practicing. They're thinking, I want to get better, right? That's the only reason anybody does anything craft or hobby or skill related is you want to get better. So they think, I want to get better. So how are you going to get better? Well, I'm going to fight super hard and train super hard and be super aggro all the time, right? And so they feel they're winning, they're able to win their roles and able to win positions and able to fight out of certain things. So they feel like they're doing good. And then the injuries start accumulating and they can't train anymore. And so even though they kind of took off, they flattened out and tapered down, right? Versus somebody who's smooth and steady and consistent, in the long run, they're actually going to do better. You kind of have to take it on faith, especially when you're young. Thinking in terms of 5-year blocks or thinking in terms of a long run, because you just don't have an awareness of it. I didn't really even start to develop an awareness of what I'll just call deep time thinking. I started training when I was 24, 25. I was like 30 by the time I even figured out that, I need to think of time in longer chunks. And I need to think of my life in 5-year chunks, 10-year chunks, right? And maybe I lose this point or I lose this thing or I give a little bit of money back on this deal, but in the long run, you develop a reputation. I think what is real will prevail. I think most things, if you're struggling to try to get to the truth of something and you're struggling to try to, that's what most people, what is true, what is real, what can I believe in, right? What can I anchor my mind to? What can I anchor my life to? What can I attempt to align my actions around? Some form of reality, some form of truth. Well, you got to give it time.